everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host, Connie, and we are here with our first episode reaction to Masters of the Universe Revelation. This is our new poll series replacing Centaur World. And yeah, I'm definitely excited to see what this is like. I've heard a lot of good things about the series, but I've also heard some people who were pretty upset about it because it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. So let's go over what I know about it. So I know this is a series made by Kevin Smith, probably one of the most famous nerds out there. I know the Masters of the Universe property. I grew up watching He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Not like the most actively, but I did watch it, and I saw the live-action movie that was released and everything. So it is a property I am familiar with. I do know the characters, I know the basic gist. I may not remember every little detail or every single character's name or whatnot, but I know of this property, for sure. I know that Mark Hamill voices Skeletor in this version, which is fantastic. I also know that Kevin Conroy, who recently passed away, is also in this. I don't know who he plays, but I do know he's in this. And on top of that, I do know that this is not a He-Man centric show. This series is not called He-Man, keep that in mind. This series is called Masters of the Universe Revelation. It's not centered specifically on He-Man. And that was a big point of contention for this series, apparently. A lot of people went into this thinking it was going to be centered on He-Man, just because he's in it. And yet never put together that the title doesn't even mention his name. It's not a He-Man series. It's not meant to be. It's a Masters of the Universe series. He-Man is part of that, but he's not the only one. So, I'm not... Sorry, there was a weird noise outside. So I'm not going into this expecting that. And honestly, I wouldn't even necessarily want it anyway. I think that these shows work best usually when they do split the focus between a multitude of characters. She-Ra and the Princesses of Power as a great example, being obviously, from the same original source. While yes, Adora / She-Ra could be said to be the main character of that, it's undeniable that the other characters were just as important and had just as much focus and attention given to them. Between Catra, Glimmer, Bo, Mermista, and all of the others, it's like they were just as valuable in terms of how they were portrayed. And so it's like, just because Adora was the main character doesn't mean she was the sole focus. And so that seems to be kind of like what it's going to be here. He-Man, Prince Adam won't be the sole focus. I don't know if he's the main character per se, but it's not going to be just about him. But yeah, I haven't really seen a He-Man property since I was young, or Masters of the Universe property, or anything like in that kind of realm, outside of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. And I went into that with very little knowledge because, as I had stated when I went into that, I had not really seen much of any She-Ra. It was always the He-Man shows that I had watched when I was a kid. Partially because of how I was raised and all, but not getting into that here. So yeah, I hadn't really seen these shows since I was young. I kind of grew out of them, in a way, you could say. It just stopped being the kind of things I was interested in. And I just didn't want to watch anymore. But again, I remember things here and there. I remember character names, basic ideas. It's just not every single little thing. Um, but yeah, so also apparently, like I mentioned this when I first announced this as the winner, there is like a second series called Masters of the Universe Revolution. But I found out that apparently that's not even out yet. That there's 10 episodes of Revelation, and that Revolution is going to be a sequel series that is coming sometime in the future. I don't know if it's been said, but I couldn't find a release date through the little bit of looking I did. But either way, yeah. This, like I said, is a poll series, so it was put on the poll because it's something that I figure that I'll probably, hopefully like, and that I don't need to worry about, like, waiting for a donation reward to get to. And you guys voted to have me check it out. It was the #1 vote getter, so you guys clearly want me to react to it. Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see how this like modernizes things, and exactly what it does for the overall franchise. Because She-Ra changed the game a lot, and I'm wondering if this one is going to do the same. Either way, we're going to find out. Like I said, this is 10 episodes long. It was released in batches of 5 because fucking Netflix. But all 10 episodes are out. And hopefully we'll get through them without too much trouble. We'll see. But let's just get this started. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so as I stated in the pre-thoughts, I grew up with the He-Man Masters of the Universe stuff. While I didn't see all of it, while I never like super actively watched it, I was kind of into it. I think I even probably had some toys. Though I had more toys for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but I think I had some He-Man toys. But that being said, this first episode at least was a combination of nostalgia for the classic series. A lot of stuff I'm recognizing, a lot of stuff that fits within what I know of the He-Man / Masters of the Universe franchise to be. But it is also fresh for a lot of reasons. The animation is very crisp, very nice looking. The voice acting is really good. And I really like the overall feel of it. Not to mention, we have the big twist ending. He-Man sacrifices himself, and it, at the same time, is shown to everyone there to be Prince Adam, who only, from the ones who are there, only Man-at-Arms knew, and outside of that, only Adam's mother knew, the Queen. And so, well, the Sorceress probably knows as well, to be fair. He sacrifices himself. Skeletor holds on to the swords and everything at the same time and ends up going as well. Though it's unclear if they're actually dead, because they're just gone. Everyone presumes they're dead, especially those who are there. But I feel more likely that they've been transported somewhere or something. I just don't feel that they're dead. I feel like there's more to this story. But after the king finds out, he's very fairly angry. I mean, finding out that not only was his son He-Man this entire time and he didn't know, but also that his son just died without, like, him even realizing that he was in danger. And he banishes Man-at-Arms, Duncan. But Teela, Duncan's daughter, basically just says, fuck all of you. You all suck. I hate all of you. You're a bunch of liars and skeevy pieces of shit. I'm out. Deuces. And then she leaves. She relinquishes her title as the new Man-at-Arms. She relinquishes her association with everyone there. The royalty, her father, just everyone involved in keeping this secret, and, you know, even Adam. She even says that she's even angry with Adam for hiding this. Which, again, completely fair. And as I say in the reaction, I'm on her side here. Like, completely. Like, I understand it's kind of like the entire superhero argument as to why they would hide who he is and everything. But at the same time, it's like, she was clearly the person who was closest to Adam, except maybe Cringer. She was clearly super close to him, whether you wanted to see it as best friends or even a possible romance. It was very clear that they were exceptionally close. So for her to find out in the way that she did, and for her to find out basically right as he, from her perspective, dies, it's like, yeah, she's going to be angry, and rightly so. She has a right to be upset at that secret being kept. She has a right to be upset about her closest friend being, in her perspective, dead. She has a right to be upset about everyone who had been hiding this, including her own father, doing so. The secrets, the lies, the just terrible attitudes and everything, it's like she's done with it. She's sick of it, and she's leaving. And again, I side with her. But this also is very unique, because it's like, we're coming into this series as everything is falling apart. Usually with like a He-Man show or something, you would think like, oh, the heroes win. They save the day, everything is good. And it's like, you're going to come into it at the beginning and stuff. But no, in this, like, Adam's presumably been He-Man for a long time already. The battle against Skeletor and Evelyn has been going on for a long time. Teela's being knighted as Man-at-Arms, taking over her father's role. So it's very clear that that we're not coming into like the beginning of this mythos, of this lore. We're coming into it at the turning point. And that's a very unique, interesting way to do it. This is clearly a series that's not meant for new viewers. This is not meant for people who aren't familiar with the material. This is very clearly meant for fans, or at least people who are familiar with the He-Man Masters of the Universe mythos already. This is not an origin story. It's not a start to this all. It's the turning point. It's the change. And I think that's the right way to handle it. I think that's exceptionally a smart way to handle it. It allows it to stand apart from previous incarnations of this franchise. And with this seeming sacrifice, even if it's not something that's going to stick, it allows other characters to shine. Like, Teela really got to shine in this episode because of that. Especially with her leaving everything behind. It shows her strength of character. It shows her how much she values loyalty and honesty. It says a lot to have portrayed her the way that she was here. And I give the credit where it's due to all the crew who worked on this, to Kevin Smith and everyone else. It's like, yeah, she definitely came across as like main character material here. Like, yeah, she and Adam kind of shared the spotlight, but it's again very clear with how Adam is seemingly dead. Again, I don't believe it, but seemingly, that she's going to be the main character. That this is going to follow her story. And I'm all for that. I am 100% all for that. But I can also see why there was the conflict, I guess. Why people were so up in arms about this series and why it got so much mixed reception. Because it's like the people who liked it really liked it from what I saw. But I did see the people complaining that it wasn't adhering to their expectations. I didn't know all the details and all, but I know that they were upset that He-Man wasn't the main character. And it's like, I see what they're talking about now. But it's like they went into this just expecting that, just because he's always been the main character of this franchise. But again, this is not titled He-Man and the Masters of the Universe Revelation. It's just Masters of the Universe Revelation. That implies that it's about more than just him. So it's like, it's kind of on you if you chose to misinterpret that and just assume that he would be the main focused character. And on top of that, the story was good. Again, bringing things in on the big climax with all these, well, revelations kind of coming to light. Castle Grayskull doesn't really exist. It's an illusion to hide the truth behind it. The source of all magic and shit. And it's like, yeah, this is awesome, really. And the fact that they are starting this way, that they are starting the series by kind of flipping things on its head and kind of showing the downfall and turnover of the kingdom with all these revelations coming to light, it's like, that's such a smart decision, writing-wise. Because again, it allows this series to really stand apart from previous Masters of the Universe incarnations. Because again, it's not starting at the beginning. It's starting well into this kingdom's, fight against evil. Well into everything that's been going down. And that, in my opinion at least, is vastly more interesting. I'm much more interested in this story than I would be if this was just another origin story of Prince Adam becoming He-Man and learning to fight against the forces of Skeletor and Evelyn. It would just be the same as it always has been, and it's like, I don't want that. It's what I loved about She-Ra and the Princesses of Power so much. The fact that they took it in such a vastly different direction than you would expect with a series like this, based off of the Masters of the Universe property and all. And not even just the entire everybody is gay aspect about it, though I did love that, obviously. Just the story and the way things progressed and the way characters interacted and stuff was so different. I did go back and watch a little bit of the original series just to get a feel for the differences, and it was very different. Even ignoring the fact that obviously She-Ra in the original was connected to He-Man, even ignoring that aspect, it's it was very different. And I like that. I think that's actually a good thing. It was a good thing with She-Ra. It's a good thing with a lot of shows that are brought back or remade or whatnot. It's a good thing to update them for the modern era, to change them where needed. And this was, honestly, based off of this first episode at least, just another great example of that. And I hope that this continues to be this good. And I hope it continues to change things up. Because this is what I would want from this series. And even stuff I didn't know I wanted, but I very much do now. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this journey goes for our characters. Hopefully, the fights continue. Hopefully, things get even more interesting. And when Adam and Skeletor return, because I, again, very much believe they're going to. I'm really hoping that they're integrated back in well, and I'm wondering if it's going to be like a time period thing, like, oh, they've been gone for years, and things have changed, and they have to kind of get used to that. It'd be kind of like a fish out of water thing, which would be good enough for Adam, but I love the idea of maybe doing that with Skeletor, giving him a fish out of water story, and like maybe Evelyn has completely taken over, and he has to deal with the fact that he's not the number one anymore. That would be great. I really want to see that now. But even if it's not like a time skip into the future or whatnot, I'm just hoping that when they are integrated back in, that it feels natural and makes sense for, what had happened. Plus, I'm interested to see if Adam will be dual wielding from here on out, considering the sword split into two different ones. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes down. Obviously, do not spoil me. Do not leave any spoilers for where this is going to go. I don't want to know anything ahead of time. I want to continue to go into this as spoiler-free as possible, because I don't really know where this goes. Like, compared to other shows that I've reacted to, where it's like, oh yeah, I know a couple things because the internet and everything has spoiled me. This one I really don't. Like, I actually don't really know where this goes at all, and I'm kind of, like, excited about that. I think I know one thing, but I'm not even 100% sure on it, and I'm not going to say it because that would definitely be a spoiler if I did. For anyone who might be watching this along with me, just saying, I don't want to spoil it for you either. And I don't even know if it's true, but in case it is. But yeah, it's so far so good. I enjoy the start of this and can't wait to see more. So yeah, this is our new Sunday poll series for the foreseeable future. And we'll just kind of go from there. There's basically just one season. It's just the 10 episodes, so I'm not going to like split it up between the 5 and 5. But if I do end up liking this enough all the way through, then when it does come out in the future, we'll probably react to the sequel series, Revolution, as well. But either way, for the time being, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this first episode of Masters of the Universe Revelation? And how excited are you for the future? Have you seen this before, or are you watching it along with me? Let me know all of that and more down in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.